Zentrix AI. The advanced AI-powered trading platform for every trader. Everything you need for trading success. Research, strategy, automation, trade signals, all in one platform. Write strategies in plain language. We build the bots. Forex, crypto, stocks, futures. Every market. Let AI do the heavy lifting. Zentrix AI. The future of trading is here. Are you ready?
Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. If you haven't checked out the Zentrix Telegram, make sure you go and do that. We have launched, we are live. So if you are looking to check out the platform, make sure you head over to the website, head over to the Telegram. There's more information there. You can join the community. Let me share the link. So if you're interested in looking to learn how you can utilize AI within your trading, whether you're looking at custom indicators, custom strategies, even refining strategies, improving strategies, developing automated trading bots, if you're looking for automated signals as well, which combine different strategies across different timeframes as well, make sure you go check it out. At the moment, the signal service is completely free to check out. In fact, I'll post the link to the signals. One moment, but the signal service is completely free to join. You can check it out, test it out. There's signals across different time frames, of course, pretty much every market. So, you know, whatever you're trading, the ideas you can look to work with and test out. And of course, you can utilize your own analysis as well, combining with the signals. So if you are interested to check it out, I'll drop the link in the chat. Like I said, this is free to join. It is going to be a paid service in the future, but at the moment, to celebrate the launch, it is free to join. So make sure you do head over and check it out if you haven't done so already. But guys, welcome back to another stream. As always, we'll go through the USD side of things first, take a look at the dollar. We'll take a look at the dollar, USD majors, gold and silver. Any requests, drop it in the chat, and of course we'll take a look. And of course, let me know any particular time frames you guys are working on. Most of the time I'm on the 4-hour daily chart, but if you are particularly intraday, let me know, and I can of course drop to the lower time frames to have a look. But first things first, we'll go through the DXY. So last time we spoke yesterday, I believe we were trading around here somewhere. So not much has happened. I mean, for the most of this week, it's been a very corrective journey for the dollar on the way up. And we are pushing very close to the upper end of this channel. Price has been trading within major resistance. So as you can see over here, major resistance back at 97.800, and this is an interesting area because if price is going to reject this level, it could be an area where we do form another lower high perhaps and see another bearish leg back into lows. The market is still bearish after all. It's still very consistent with these lower highs. You know, this is an area where we could form another lower high and price could see some more downside. So in terms of shorting the dollar, I would like to see some rejection, perhaps even a close outside of that smaller channel. That would be a very strong signal to show us that, okay, this corrective move is just likely a retracement. A strong candle breaking through that really shows to us, okay, the bears are really stepping into play now, and probably at that point we're likely to see more downside. So that would be a very strong entry signal. Should we see a nice big bearish engulfing candle breaking outside that channel, of course rejecting this area of confluence here, that would be a very strong bearish signal. On the other side, if we do see the dollar continue to break to the upside in a big move, breaking out that larger channel, breaking through that resistance, well, that would be a bullish signal, and I'll be pretty bullish on the dollar going into next week, and I'll be looking at something like this over the next few days, perhaps even a retest of that area. This could form into a big inverse head and shoulder pattern. There's your left, there's your head, there's your right shoulder, and perhaps some buys off the back of that. So the way I see it with the dollar, we are still very corrective as a whole. That's really what I've been talking about a lot this week, how price is looking very tired on the way down. So I do think some upside is likely. The bigger move for the dollar may still be to the downside. We may still see this bearish trend continue, but perhaps we do have a bit of a breather first. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. So if I want to take some buys in the dollar, I do need to see a sustained break of this channel to the upside. I'm not talking about just one candle. I want to see successive candles. I want to see momentum break, strength and momentum in the breakout. And then that will give me signals to potentially look for pullbacks to buy, and maybe even a retest of that area. So very bullish on the dollar, but that breakout, of course, is pivotal. And of course, if price does end up breaking to the downside, that would be a bearish signal. I wouldn't be banking on the longs anymore. And at that point, we probably are going to head back to low. So it's a bit 50-50 at the moment. We're coming to an area of confluence. Let's see how price reacts. At the moment, not a lot of information, but probably in the next 24, 48 hours, we'll probably know what the likely move is for the DXY. Taking that information to Euro. Euro just a bit flat as well, kind of doing what the DXY is doing. Except Euro hasn't really hit the level I've been looking for price to hit all week pretty much, which is this area here. We're only just hovering above it, but I've been looking for price to come back and retest this area. You got some really nice confluence here with the trend line, first test, second test, third test, and perhaps a fourth. And again, I think this is a smart place for a buy. It lines up pretty well with the DXY analysis. If the DXY is going to bounce from that area, then you probably would see Euro do something similar. And again, you could either look for buys at that area, or you could look for a buy on the break of the channel. Of course, that would get into the market a little bit later, but at least you have a bit more confirmation in your favor. The break of the channel probably does take us back to the high, so you can be a bit more confident about that move. But of course, in terms of risk rewards, you probably want to enter a little bit earlier. But we'll see how price does operate there. Again, same thing for the reversal bias. If we are going to take Euro to the downside, I do want to see a strong break lower, and then we can start to discuss some shorting opportunities. At this point in time, I'm not really seeing any of that. Of course, we're still probably a long way away from that. We need a lot of momentum, a lot of dollar strength need to come into the market. So I won't speak too much on this opportunity here because it's probably still a week away from forming. But of course, bear that in mind. As for now, this is really their area of interest, 1.162. We'll see what price does in that area. Do we form wicks? Do we see some healthy rejection? Well, that could be a nice buy. And of course, look at it in context with the DXY. Is the DXY rejecting? Is the DXY showing signs of bearish momentum? Well, that will be a strong signal to back up the trade, a strong confluence to back up the trade. And we see some nice buys there for Euro. And perhaps we do push back to highs. We'll wait and see, but not really there yet. So still waiting for a bit more downside for Euro dollar before really analyzing the candlesticks and the price action. Pound USD likewise as well, almost at that low of the channel. So if I map it out, you've got the highs over there, you've got the lows over here. And again, looking just for a little bit more downside for pound before I do well and truly become interested in the price action. Just looking to see if we can push down. What type of rejection do we get here? Is there going to be some more wicks that look like this? Well, that would be a strong sign for the buyers. That would be a great buy opportunity, of course, followed by some bullish engulfing candles, followed by some bullish momentum. I think that would be a very smart trade. And of course, if we see signs of price breaking through, well, then of course the bearish bias would be in full flow. We'll be looking for a retest somewhere, low, high, and expecting a lot more downside off the back of that. So pound USD, I can see prices going both ways. Again, a big part of trading, as I've been saying a lot this week, is just about being reactive to what the market's giving you. At the moment, we're still bullish. We're trading within the channel. Yeah, that could still remain true going to next week if we do see a successful bounce. Well, that might not remain true. Maybe price does break out. And if it does break out, I'm not looking to buy the market anymore. I'm more interested in the shorting opportunity. So price will make up our mind for us what we do in this area. At the moment, I must say we are looking pretty corrective. So if that sustains and we see some healthy rejection, I think it is a decent buy. I still do think pound USD does need that deeper retracement. We've taken out some major highs to our left, and we've been looking pretty corrective since then. So I do think pound is due something like this soon, even if it is going to continue higher. But we'll see. Maybe price wants to have another rally. We'll let price kind of be the judge for us, and then we'll react to whatever the market is giving us. In terms of dollar CAD, it's been a bit awkward, to be honest. A lot of consolidation in this area. So it hasn't really been moving too cleanly. But the bias has been pretty much the same since coming into the week, which is looking for the double bottom at these lows. And the target for the week has been a push back into resistance up here, 1.378. We broke out of this descending channel, which made me pretty bearish on the market, on the pair. Pretty bullish on the pair, sorry. Got the complete wrong word there. We broke out that channel, which made me very, very bullish. Nice clean breakout. So I've been looking for price to make a move back into resistance. I talked about some buying opportunities on a retest of this area. Haven't really seen that happen. We've been pretty bullish since the breakout, and then just very flat. So I'm not really seeing kind of clear-cut opportunities to jump into any trades. I drop into the lower time frames. Things are looking pretty hectic there. We're kind of fading at resistance quite a lot. So dollar CAD, in terms of the low time frames, I'm not seeing clean opportunities to jump into a buy. I mentioned it might be a nice opportunity if price was to revisit the support level where we had the double bottom. I think that would be a smart place for a buy. I also like this area here as well, but I'm not too sure if we revisit either of them. So with dollar CAD, it might be a situation where we have a very slow corrective grind to the upside, and maybe there's some pullbacks to keep an eye on like a 30 or 50 minute chart. But for the most part, we are very flat, and it's just not looking really attractive to find any sort of opportunity, whether you're selling or buying. I am bullish on the pair. I do think more upside is likely, but again, just not seeing a clear-cut opportunity unless maybe we do pull back into this area. But dollar CAD am bullish, just a bit difficult to find some good entries for that one with how price is moving. Aussie dollar, still looking for a sell, very corrective on the way up. Aussie has been quite strong as of late, so this has had some fun to the upside, but again, I do think the bigger move is still with the sells. I'm still keeping a very close eye in terms of the upper channel. If we can get there, respect it well, I think that's a great place for a short, simply for a push back to the low end of the channel, and then we'll go from there. Perhaps price respects it, we push back up again, or perhaps price breaks the low of the channel and we see a big sell-off. You know, we'll find out when we find out, but for now, I would wait for a push to the up end of the channel. That's kind of where my where I would like to get short from. There'll be a lot of kind of stop losses above here. It'll be nice to see potentially price run through them, test an area where I can get a safe stop loss above all the noise, and then take the short. Of course, if I can see some healthy rejection at that area, I think that'll be a smart place to get short there for Aussie dollar. And then a push to the low end of the channel, and we'll see where we can go from there. But that's still the same setup as you spoke about for the past couple of weeks now. So nothing's really changed with Aussie dollar. Still the same situation. New Zealand dollar, same thing as well. Still moving in this ascending channel. So if I connect the highs and the lows, you can see we've been operating within this channel for a while. Again, a nice rejection not too long ago. Been looking for price to actually come back and retest it, to be honest, just to find a good entry. As I was mentioning yesterday, I don't want to be getting involved in the middle. This dotted line in between, in the middle of the channel, represents the middle, the median of the channel, which is where the most fluctuation is going to be, and just very difficult to find, you know, consistent good entries and consistently good stop losses, because this is where a lot of noise will occur. You know, at the top or at the bottom is where the value is here for New Zealand dollar. So if I am going to find a trade, it's because price does get back to the high and rejects well. I might find a trade to jump into off the back of that. But at the moment, not really interested. I am bearish. I do think we're likely to keep falling, but yeah, I'm struggling to find any entries unless we do push back to the highs. In terms of gold, gold's been interesting. A little bit bullish. It looks like we are breaking out that descending channel on the lower time frames. We saw a slight reaction there, but not enough to really get the market going. You can see on the hourly chart there, nice push down, but we only moved about 25% of the way down before price decided it wanted to break out. And again, these conditions are very, very choppy, so I would stay away from gold, which is why I'm not really entertaining any setups, apart from if maybe price was to push back to these lows. I wouldn't mind some longs down there. I think that could be a nice setup actually. But inside of this area, this is where all the noise is, so I really want to stay away. I can see prices breaking to the upside outside of that channel, but that wouldn't necessarily make me very bullish on the pair. I know silver's looking quite bullish now. We'll get to that in a moment, but I'm just not quite sold on the price action of gold here. I need to see some consistency, some higher highs, higher lows. Even then, I'll watch out as we come back into resistance here. I think well and truly, it's either we have a big push to the lows, which I can buy the dip, or we kind of break through highs again, see some new momentum come into the market, then speak about some pullbacks on the way up. That would be something which would be a bit more kind of straightforward with gold. Right now, we're very flat, trading in the middle of a range, just, yeah, maximum kind of chaos in this area, and just not going to find the best trades with the best stop losses. So not a big fan of gold. I am bullish on the pair, but this is the best opportunity I can get, which is more of a swing opportunity. Intraday, I personally wouldn't entertain. Silver, as I mentioned, looking a lot more bullish. I think we're pushing back into highs. Looks like we're just about breaking highs actually. So silver looks a lot cleaner. And again, the way I'm looking at silver is we had highs over here on the daily chart. Price broke through them very well. Then we start to consolidate. Looks like price is starting to break through these highs. Well, if you can see another clean breakout, then the aim of the game is pretty simple. Looking for the next pullback, perhaps a retest of the high, and then onwards and upwards. The next big level would be 40. That's the next big psychological level. That's where I'm expecting price to push towards. I haven't been looking to try and trade silver inside of the range. But if we are going to get a clean breakout with some momentum, then yeah, I will be more than happy to find some buys and take this to the upside. And that 40 would be the next kind of big target. I also am keen for the longs down here, but we'll probably discuss that if suddenly price turns bearish. At the moment, we look pretty bullish, so this is the next best opportunity. But yeah, silver very bullish. I wouldn't mind looking to trade silver. Gold, I understand that gold is still a very bullish market as a whole and still likely to continue higher, but I'm just not a big fan of the price action. That's like a big range to me. So yeah, not a big fan. But yeah, hopefully that made sense with the USD pairs roughly. That's kind of where I'm at with them. What's up, Poppy? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Tony Gold, my man, what is up? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Universe. Yep, we just took a look at gold. A lot of people talking about gold today. What's going on? I think people see the breakout. I'm starting to get excited. I mean, I guess, but the price action is awful. Price action is awful. Yeah, I wouldn't look to trade it, to be honest. I'm not seeing any consistency in terms of direction. I think silver looks a lot better in terms of the direction, in terms of what the market is doing. Gold right now, it looks horrendous. So I would stay away from gold. Like I said, I would wait for some consistency in terms of a trend, in terms of market structure. Then maybe we can talk about buying a dip somewhere, buying a pullback. But the market is just a noise right now. So I personally wouldn't touch gold, to be honest. I know gold's it's an attractive pair. It can move a lot, can provide a lot of pips. So I can understand that. But in these conditions, this is where a lot of people probably give back a lot of profit. Especially if you're taking advantage of the heavy kind of trending conditions early in the year and 2024 mostly. Now we're just a bit in a range, so now is kind of the time to step back and kind of just wait patiently for the next best opportunity. Unless you kind of thrive in choppy conditions, selling tops and buying lows, if that's kind of how you look to work, then maybe this is a condition more to focus on. But personally, I like to follow structure. I like to buy pullbacks. That's kind of really my take when it comes to trading. I always look to try and buy the area where we're likely to continue a trend, likely to continue a swing. In this situation, I'm not seeing any kind of likeliness of anything really. So personally, for gold, not seeing much of an opportunity. I can understand we're breaking out this channel. Maybe that is a bullish signal for a push back to highs. I can see the logic behind that, but where do we go from there? Maybe straight back down again. So just don't have a clear kind of direction or plan for gold. In terms of the larger picture, yes, the uptrend is still very clear to see, so I'm very bullish overall, hence why I still like the buys down here. So larger picture, yes, but lower time frames I don't think look great at all. So yes, we've got a breakout there. Perhaps that does take us back to resistance, but that's the best I've kind of got for gold right now. Anything more than that, I need more information. I need price action to improve. Let me know what you guys are looking at for gold. I'm interested because it seems to be popular, and personally looks horrendous, so I'm intrigued. Annie, what's up? I'm doing well, thank you. Hope you're doing good. Natural gas and oil next 2-3 days. Okay, we'll have a look. See. MJ, what's up, my man? We'll take a look at EuroCAD, no problem. So, oil. So oil, I'm still very bullish on this one. In fact, if I go to the weekly chart, so I'm still very bullish on oil. We've got a massive level of support, which is basically the foundation of my bullish bias. As long as price can stay above this, continue to reject it, I will be bullish on oil, looking for a big recovery. The moment price does break through this level, I will quickly shift my bias to bearish and look for a push back into the lows here. So this support level is very, very pivotal. At the moment, we had a nice reaction. However, we haven't really sustained any strength. The market's been very corrective in the way up, and it looks like we're probably coming back for another retest. So over the next 2 to 3 days, I would expect to see more downside for oil for another retest of this support level. And then next 2 to 3 days after that, maybe if we can see some healthy rejection, maybe we push back up again. Of course, if not, and if we break through, then like I said, I'll be very bearish. Then the plan would be looking for pullbacks and then looking for a lot more downside with some longer term targets at 55 back at those lows there. So in terms of the plan for the next 2-3 days, I do think shorts look good for a push back into support here, and then we'll go from there. Let's see how price reacts, and we'll make a new bias. But looking very bearish the way I see it. We've had a very kind of corrective drive higher, which to me kind of looks like a pullback essentially of this big bearish move. So I think more downside is likely. A nice opportunity would be maybe if we can see a retest of this consolidation, because this is what kind of spat out a lot of momentum. We consolidated there for a couple of days, strong push down. If we were to come up and retest that, I think that could be a nice place for a short and an intraday level and a push back into support there. So next 2-3 days for oil, I do see a lot more downside here, push back to 65. Again, I'm still long-term bullish, but we do need to respect this level as support. So when we do push there, we do need to see some healthy rejection, wicks, kind of like what we did over here. Momentum shift back to the buyers. And I think in respect, that could be a nice a buy signal. But for now, I would be pretty bearish until we get there, and then we'll see what price does. Whether we get the breakout or price respects it again, we'll have to wait and see. In terms of natural gas, so natural gas, it's been a while since I took a look at this one. Actually, I've got natural gas here. In terms of natural gas, it has been a while since I looked at natural gas. Next 2-3 days, I'll probably be pretty bearish. I'll still be looking at push back into this low. Yeah, the way I see it, price has kind of formed a bit of a head and shoulder here. Left, head, right shoulder. That's, of course, your neckline there. Price came back to retest this massive area of supply. Kind of like how price operated. Kind of formed these equal highs here. Fake that to the upside. Strong push back down again. I've been looking pretty bearish since. And since we kind of got that fake to the upside, I do think price is now going to go sweep these lows here. So I do think there's a lot more downside there for natural gas. I expect these lows to be taken out in the next coming days. In terms of the next 2-3 days, that's a little bit tricky. I mean, the overall kind of direction I'll expect down, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do push up first to come down later. So we might see a push up, maybe to come back and test some structure. We might kind of see a bigger pullback, maybe something like this, and then dump. So be prepared for that. At the moment, it looks like these lower highs are performing pretty well. And we've pulled back into another one, which again could give us a nice short. So I would say keep an eye on these two areas, 34.50 and also 36.50. Two areas which I would happily look to short from. If we have the deeper pullback, this would be the area of interest. If the pullback's a bit more shallow, kind of just keeping in line with these lower highs, then this area is probably going to hold. And so far, we are rejecting pretty well. But in terms of targets, it would be a push back into this low here. That might be a bit more than 2-3 days, but that's kind of what I'll be expecting. So, yeah, pretty bearish on natural gas as well. I like the price action with this one. I think longer term, we'll probably see a big drop through that support level. But overall, I do think a lot more downside is likely. Okay, so EuroCAD, we'll take a look at next. Poppy. Yeah, very, very true. Very, very true. Yeah, I remember that actually. Yeah, I mean, that's where it comes down to management as well. And of course, you're not going to be perfect all the time. Yeah, some trades you will close early. But then, of course, maybe you come back in a few days and maybe prices actually soared to the upside. So there will be times you do that. You're not going to be perfect every time. I think that's the big thing to kind of caveat there, because there will be times where you call it very, very well. You start to see some rejection, momentum slowing down, get out the trade. It makes sense on paper, but there will be times where you do get a bigger move there and you miss out on that. And the thing is not to beat yourself up over it, because you're not to know that what price is necessarily going to do next with 100% certainty. So that's where it comes down to your management and your discipline, and having a kind of a rule book as well. What signs do you want to see for you to exit a trade early? If you see those signs, then exit a trade early. And of course, the best way to verify that is look back over your previous trades and look back at when price did form the top that actually did come back against you. What were the signs before that? And then, of course, you can work your way back from there. You can start to see some signs. Okay, normally when price does this, normally price does reverse against me. Okay, well, maybe next time if I see that happen again, let's take my profits and move on. But looking back over your trades is the secret weapon, really, because that will give you so much more information. Anything else is kind of a bit of guesswork, and that's where kind of the emotions come into play, and your kind of discipline might go out the window. But if you can look back over your trades and see, okay, yeah, this is a recurring theme, then that gives you so much confidence going into the future, because you kind of trialed and tested it. But in terms of EuroCAD, I would say this is an interesting one actually, because we are testing some major support, major resistance on the monthly chart. So it's an interesting one, because if we can reject this, I think there's a lot of downside for EuroCAD. At the moment, it's still early doors. We had a very strong candle close into the level, so momentum is still with the buyers here. We are starting to stall a little bit, but it's too early to say. This is the new monthly candle that's open. It's still got 20 days left before it does close, so this could still very much push to the upside if it wants to. But what I will say is I do expect to see a bit of retracement. The market swept the highs here, had a pretty big pullback. It swept the highs here again. I think we can go for a similar pullback. Whether we form a higher low and continue or reverse is yet to be seen. But we are kind of behaving a little bit correctively here, which most of the time does mean that we're running out of momentum and probably getting ready for a bit of a sell-off at some point. And of course, taking into consideration that we are trading in massive monthly resistance, I do think we can see a bit of a move down. So I am pretty bearish here for EuroCAD in terms of at least a pullback. I think we can speak about buy opportunities when we start to come back into this area. Let's see how price operates. Maybe there are some smart buys in this area. We can speak about that when we get there. But for now, I wouldn't really be so interested about buying the market. Like I said, trading at major resistance. Market's quite overbought. And of course, we just swept major highs as well. So would I be looking to short it? Probably not either. I'm not really seeing any solid short opportunities, to be honest. Maybe if price was to go and take out these lows here strongly and then pull back, maybe I might entertain a short off the back of that. It might be some pattern, a lower high that can perhaps get involved there, so that could end up being a nice trade. Again, definitely counter trend, going against the grain a little bit, but makes sense given the position of where we're trading. But in terms of a buy for EuroCAD, I would wait for something like this, a much bigger pullback, because when we do take the highs out, we do tend to have a bigger pullback. So I would wait for that bigger pullback to happen. I don't want to be buying too early at the highs here, especially with the fact that we are trading at big monthly resistance. I'd rather wait for that discount, the bigger pullback, and then hopefully I might even capitalize on a bigger up move, maybe back to highs as well. That is a strong possibility. So yeah, EuroCAD, I think there could be some shorts on the way, but I want to see price take out the lows first and then pull back. So at least at that point, I've got some developed bearish structure which I can follow. And then once that plays out, or hopefully if that plays out, then we can speak about some buys. I would wait for us to at least push back into this area. This is kind of like the last pause we had before seeing that big drive high with a lot of momentum. So I would expect buyers to be looking to jump into the market in this area. So yeah, EuroCAD, I would say for now, I'm still overly bullish. I think eventually we'll probably have a bit of a bearish trend on the way down, but we can get into that probably in the next coming weeks. For now, looking for some counter trend plays and then some buys later. I kind of have the same outlook with PoundCAD, which of course is a close relative to EuroCAD. So you can see with this one, a big push back into highs. Kind of failed the highs to a degree there. But again, it's still a bullish market. And as we do come back into this sort of area, this is still a bullish area where perhaps buyers can look to step in and take price higher. I did speak about some shorts in this area. Unfortunately, that never really came around. Nice kind of brief pause, strong drop to the downside. So a lot of momentum came to the market from that area. It would be nice to see price come back and revisit that. At the moment, that's not quite what the market is doing. In terms of a bigger sell, I kind of do want to see price break through these lows here, and then I can start talking about some big sell opportunities for PoundCAD. Same thing with EuroCAD. I think we can see a lot more downside. I think they're both quite stretched, they're both quite overextended, and they're both kind of due a big correction. You can see EuroCAD's been bullish since the low here, really, which again goes back to September 2022, and now coming back into major resistance. So yeah, for now, expecting a bit of retracement and then some shorts later on. I did end up closing my CAD yen position this morning. Momentum did shift against me, so I wasn't really looking to stay in the trade and find out what possibly price might do next. I was short here on Wednesday, stops around here, and I was looking to see if I can target at least this zone here initially, but more importantly this zone, and then maybe I can hold more positions, not more positions, hold some of my remaining positions for a push to these lows here. So I quite like the idea of that bigger swing trade because I'm positioned well up at the high, and if price is going to continue with some momentum, we could see a big push back into the lows there. So I quite like the trade because of that. And of course, the entry looked good as well, and the confluences look good. But yeah, we had a bit of a reaction last night. Price gave us a bit of a wick to the downside, a very aggressive wick over here, which pushed back into support. This happened whilst I was sleeping, so I wasn't awake and monitoring the trade through this. I went to bed when price was around here. So we had that wick to the downside, and then we had a very strong close to the upside here. And then I woke up when this candle was moving, and price was just hovering slightly above my entry. So I did close the trade around about here-ish, because after this rejection here into support, and of course a strong close to the upside, there's a clear sign to me that the momentum that I had in my favor initially when I hopped into the trade is now not present anymore. Buyers have really stepped in. We've tried to push low with this candle, but all that's happened is just a wick into support, and now we're seeing strength to the upside. So maybe price is still destined to sell off, but given the way price is shifting here, I would say we're likely to push back into highs at least first. So if the market is still going to give us that drop, maybe price does rally back into highs, reject it, and then we might then roll over. I'm still going to keep a close eye on shorts. I'm still bearish on this pair in particular to try and short. But I can see momentum's no longer in my favor. And like I said, I was going to keep a very close eye on this position in terms of the management side of things, because the yen still looked pretty weak. So if the yen is still looking pretty weak, then of course I'm going to need some strength if I'm going to see that bigger sell for CAD yen. So you can see here, this is the yen basket. So this is the yen in relation to a lot of the major currencies, so Aussie, CAD, pound, euro, dollar. So if this is heading down, it means the yen is very weak against all those other currencies, and I need the price to be heading up. If the yen basket is heading up, that means yen is strong, which of course will help CAD yen push down. So I need the yen to be doing this if my trade's going to work out, most likely. Unless CAD's going to be insanely weak, I'm most likely going to need some strength on the yen. So I've been banking on a push to the upside. I did say I'm going to keep a close eye on this level here, because that's the kind of the first level where price might go against me. We did see a nice rally. Price came into the level, rejected it, and I was looking to see maybe if we can continue for another attempt. But momentum failed. You can see it again on the yen basket, bit of a wick to the upside, so no momentum there. And a pretty strong close to the downside there as well. So I can clearly see yen basket is looking pretty bearish. That means the yen is pretty weak. And of course, with CAD yen pretty much doing the same thing to the upside, I'm not really seeing the strength I needed. So I decided to close the position quite early, more or less around break even, slightly above my entry. But I still do have that bias, but I'm going to have to wait for another sign, another rejection to tempt me into another position. Otherwise, I will very much just walk away. And if price does see a strong break of this high, so if I do see price go and do something like that, really break through the high well, it's probably a scenario where CAD yen is going to continue higher. After all, I am still very bullish on euro yen. I'm still looking to very much buy that market, and it's still looking extremely bullish at the moment. I was kind of hoping that we do see a retracement for this one. I am still hoping we see a retracement for this one, but it is looking so bullish, and it's just climbing higher consistently. I am looking at 175.125. That looks to me like a solid target, especially when price has absolutely smashed through that high there. This is of course the next pivotal point for euro yen. So the idea was looking for another pullback to keep buying this. I like the look of this consolidation. I still do like the look of it as well. If price would be kind enough to pull back into this zone, I'll be more than happy to take some buys there to take the market back to the upside there. I also like the retest of this high as well. If price can return to retest that high, I think that's a great place for a long. Of course, provided we see confirmations, rejection. I'm not looking to blindly jump into these areas. I want to see evidence of price respecting these areas first. Then, of course, I want to monitor how we get there as well. That will play a vital role. But these are the areas I'm referencing for buying opportunities. with the bigger target for a push to the high. So it looks like if yen is going to remain weak and we are just going to keep falling, then I probably will stay away from shorting CAD yen and focus a little bit more on buying euro yen, or maybe buying pound yen if it can break that 200 resistance. But you can see how the yen's been falling there. I've been looking for us to push up. It's been very, very corrective. So that's one of the reasons why I've been looking for us to push up. But maybe this time we don't. Maybe this time we do keep falling and melt back into lows maybe. So with euro yen looking very bullish, I've got a very bullish bias on that one. Pound yen, I can see pound yen doing something similar to what euro yen did. They're very similar pairs, and they do tend to follow one another. So if pound yen can go and break resistance here and see a strong break of the high, that would make me pretty bullish on pound yen, and then I'll be looking for buys all the way back to the high there at 207. But of course, we haven't broke resistance yet. We're still at resistance, and we can still very much see a move lower. So being careful of that. Something like this could still happen. But should we see a strong break and momentum picks up, then yeah, I will be looking for pullbacks and some buying opportunities. Same with pound yen. Same with euro yen, sorry. Swiss yen's been just as bullish as well, but Swiss yen is at all-time high, so I'm not really concerned about buying that one anymore. I feel like the ship has already sailed. Menchi, what is up? Hope you're well. No, I have not looked at pound Aussie. I can take a look for you. Yep, we'll take a look, no problem. Okay, so pound Aussie. So pound Aussie I've been pretty bearish on. Pound Aussie did do me dirty, I'm not gonna lie. It is looking absolutely bearish right now. I was short back over here. On this candle, but I did exit my trade after momentum started to shift. I think I exited around here somewhere, so it was around a 1-to-1 which I exited for, which is not the worst thing in the world. But you can see how price had a pretty much almost 100% retracement just to continue lower, and that's kind of the lesson which I was talking about at the start of the stream. Now sometimes you do get out of trades where price was just going to go and smash into your break even, or go and smash into your stop loss. So sometimes it's actually a good call getting out early, and sometimes price hovers literally 3 or 4 pips away from your break even just to dump in your favor and go and hit your target. The market can be sinister like that sometimes. And of course other times price will, you get into a trade and price will absolutely just fall in your favor, like like it's pre-planned or something. So trading can be a bit frustrating from that degree, and that's why a plan and a system and rules is very, very important, because those kind of parameters keep you sane, because sometimes something like this is quite painful. Yeah, it is quite painful sometimes. I mean, for me, I don't really mind it too much. It happens. There will be trades that go in my favor very well. There'll be trades that stop me out, trades that will stop me at break even. This one I did close for a small win, so I can't really complain too much, because it's still a win at the end of the day. Of course, it would be nice to hold the position back into lows, but again, if you have rules in place in terms of management and you abide by them, it's not going to work out for every single trade. Some trades are just going to do some crazy type of pullback or crazy type of movement, and funny enough, they might go smash your take profit. But yeah, so you're not supposed to take advantage of every trade. If you did, it would be amazing. But unfortunately, that's trading for you. But in terms of pound Aussie, I am expecting a pretty big swing lower. I'm looking for us to come back and retest this area here at 1.99. Mainly because I'm looking for not a reversal, but a big retracement. For pound Aussie, we smashed through the COVID highs, and the way we did it as well was kind of almost too aggressive. So I do think pound Aussie is going to have a bit of a pullback. The market is still bullish. Maybe we still trend to the upside from there. I have no idea. Or maybe the market completely reverses and we dump. Maybe the market does that. But what I can say with a bit of confidence is that I do expect us to break lower. The fact that prices are really struggling at these highs tells me that we're more likely to push lower than suddenly push higher. And then the next area of value probably would be this area, because we had a brief consolidation here, and that's where all the momentum came from, which gave us this drive higher. So it tells me that this is going to be an attractive area for price to come back into. A lot of buyers could be sitting there. It also lines up pretty well for this price swing high, which is a reasonable place to expect the market to come back and retest. So I quite like this area just below 2, that big psychological level. I think that's where price is going to be drawn to over the next few days, maybe a couple of weeks. So in terms of opportunities for pound Aussie, that's where things become a little bit more difficult, because ideally you want to be shorting at the high here, because this is where you can get some safe stop losses, which is why I was so keen about the shorts up in this area, is because I'm right at the top of this range essentially, and I can get some relatively nice stop losses above the high, away from all this noise, and it positions me in the market very, very well in a situation where if we were to drop, I will be positioned where I can really take advantage of the bulk of the move. If I'm entering down here, there's always that chance that, okay, maybe price does push in my favor, but maybe we do have a bigger pullback that wipes me out of the trade before we do continue. Of course, I say that, funny enough, that's exactly what happened here. But of course, it's just the probability of that happening is a lot less up there than down here. So in terms of looking for the big swing, I think ideally you want price to push back into resistance again. Of course, whether that happens or not is another question, but that ideally would be the best place to short. The next best place to short is, like I said, a retest of support here. So price can show a strong sign of breaking through this and then looking for a pullback. I think that'll be a smart place for a short, just continuing momentum. I might not be looking for the big swing at that point. If you can just swing it back into the prior low, that's always going to be a good trade. If we can see a strong break, a pullback, a retest, then you can short it back into the low. That's of course going to be a decent trade there. Doesn't have to be the home run for it to be a good trade. And then you can call it a day from then onwards, or maybe leave positions to run. But pound Aussie, I'm pretty bearish on that. I do think we can break lower. This is a bit of a consolidation here, so really we're kind of just back and forth and just waiting for the market to really pick a direction. I do think it's likely going to be to the downside, so keep an eye on the breaking retest opportunities. And this is a big area of confidence, which I think we are likely to go and retest. So some longer term targets look good for pound Aussie, but at the moment I am pretty bearish. Trevor, pound yen gold, okay. I don't know what their session is with gold. Price action looks horrendous. Let me know what time frame as well you're working on, so I can be a bit more use. But yeah, pound yen, as I've just mentioned, pushing into resistance. There could actually be some nice shorts for pound yen should we reject the high of the channel and this daily resistance level. So if I scoot to the daily chart really quick, you can see very impressively we've got some major resistance just above us here. Price had a really big move to the downside from the same level, and now we're back there again. So perhaps we might see a bit of a push back down, back to the low of the channel maybe, or maybe even further as well. The market has been bullish, yes, yen has been weak, but if we are going to look to buy pound yen, let's see either price has another dip to form another higher low, or price smashes through this level and we start to look for some pullbacks again. So if you are looking to try and continue that yen weakness and take advantage of the yen weakness on pound yen, then those are the two opportunities I'll be looking at. I don't really want to be buying the market now, especially as we push into the high end of this channel and of course back into major resistance. So we need to see a clean break of that if we are going to continue to buy pound yen, or we need to see a pullback back into support, back into areas where another higher low could form, then base some longs off there. And if you are short bias, then this is the best place for it. This is kind of where I'll keep a close eye and see how price operates. We had a nice rejection yesterday. Let's see if we can form a double top here, maybe form a nice wick through the level, and then see a nice bearish engulfing candle. That could be a nice entry pattern. Then of course shorts back to the low end of the channel. That could be a nice plan. So I can see kind of both situations forming for pound yen, the short from this level or the breakout and the retest opportunity from that area. It just depends how price operates. Right now we're a little bit flat. Looks like we're about to push back into resistance. So let's see what price does off the back of that. Do we respect it well? Does price break through? Those questions will be answered hopefully by the end of today, if not probably early next week, and then we can make our mind up whether shorts are the best bet or longs are the best bet. But in terms of where my focus would be, it's very much in this area. The market is at the moment pretty bullish. I think if we can pull back, maybe even into this kind of area here, I think that would be a nice buy. I mean, it would be nice to test the low end of the channel, but I think that would also be a nice buy as well. Kind of almost retest the high there too. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with pound yen. Keep a close eye on that development. If we do continue to push, let's wait for the breakout. No problem, mention, happy to help. Okay, pound yen 15 minute. Okay, so pound yen 15. Okay, so pound yen 15 looks like we've formed a higher low here. I was actually talking about some buys here yesterday for the 15 minute, but it looks like we've just about missed that. But not to worry. I think if price was to return there, that's still a valid buy, so keep an eye on that. But to me, it looks like we've just gotten broken through structure, and it looks like price is now likely to run back to the high here at 199. And it looks like we've had a nice retest just about of this area, and the market's found support there to continue. So in terms of a buy opportunity for pound yen on the 15, I would say if price can come back and revisit this area, that would be a nice buy. If we do violate that and we have a bigger pullback, then this level here would be my area of interest. So it's either the buy here or the buy there, but the target is still the same, a run back into resistance. Of course, this is where the daily level is, so I probably wouldn't look to try and take the trade further than that. But on the 15-minute chart, momentum is still very much with the buyers. I would be focused on trying to find some buys on the 15. This is a nice level, 198.6. This is also a nice level, 198 on the dot pretty much. And targets back at 199.7 make the most sense. So the pullback is important. There's a world where we do kind of just push to the upside from here. If that's the case, then yeah, that's probably a missed opportunity unless you're already in the trade already, of course. But I would wait to see if we can get another retest of that area to base some entries, or have a deeper pullback down there to base some entries. But pound yen in the 15, I'll be very bullish for. What's up, CS Integrated? Hope you're doing well, my man. Welcome, welcome. And as for gold in the 15, yeah, gold in 15 I think looks horrendous, really. I mean, it looks very bullish. I'll give it that credit. It has broken out the channel well, so it looks like at that point you're probably likely to rally back to highs here. Actually, I take that back. It's not actually looking that bad in the 15, because with the breakout, there might be some pullback opportunities. It might come back and retest the high, something like this, and that could end up being a nice buy opportunity actually. Continue the bullish structure, next higher low, and then a wave back to high. So that could end up being a nice buy. I probably would wait for a bigger breakout slightly before looking for the retest of this level, but that's kind of the idea I'll be looking at. We've broken out this bearish channel. That lower high just didn't form there. It looked like at one point it was, but we went and violated that. We broke through. So now things are looking pretty bullish. I would say keep an eye on the retest of this area for a buy, then targets back at the up end of the channel. So gold, I don't mind actually on the 15. It looks a little bit better than imagined. On the 4 hour, it looks horrendous. I don't really see much of an opportunity there. But with this breakout, momentum looks good. So yeah, I wouldn't mind some pullbacks and a buyback to the highs there, 33.64. But I think pound yen looks a lot better. So if that can set up, I would pay a bit more attention to pound yen, because at least pound yen, there's a trend to it as well, you know, backing up the direction of pound yen. Gold, yes, there is a larger trend at play, but since April, we've been very, very flat. So we're kind of just waiting for a big catalyst for gold to break us out. No problem, Trevor, happy to help. By the way, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. I do really appreciate it. Drop a hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. If you are looking for some signals, ideas about different opportunities in the market across a wide range of markets, crypto, FX, indices, stocks, 50-minute chart, hourly chart, 4-hour chart. We launched a project Zenthrix, which incorporates a lot of development with AI to help traders improve their learning curves. And we do have a service which does use AI to generate automated signals, looking at different chart patterns, indicators, different timeframes as well. So if you are interested in that, the service is completely free to check out, completely free to join. It will be a paid service in the future, but it is something completely free to join and use at the moment. So if you are interested, make sure you check it out. I'll drop the link to the chat. I'll drop the link to the Signal Telegram group in the chat. Feel free to check it out. Completely free to join. But yeah, if you're interested, check it out. Anyway, CS integrated. We'll go through DXY. What's my view? Well, it's actually interesting at the moment for the DXY. I'll go through that. It's under neutral now. Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting, to be honest. Retest of 97.6 and second test 97.2. We'll go through that. Raymond, help you out with Euro Aussie, sure thing. We'll take a look. LFTJ, yeah, BTC, I bet they are. Some absolutely lovely price action from Bitcoin. Past kind of 24 hours, looking very, very bullish. So yeah, we'll take a look at BTC. Crypto's on the up at the moment. Crypto is on the up. A lot of cryptocurrencies performing very, very well at the moment. Interesting. No problem, CS integrated. Yeah. Again, completely free to join. Check it out if you're interested. But yeah, we'll go through DXY. So DXY, what is my view on this one? As you can see by my analysis, I've got arrows in both directions, so I'm covering myself quite nicely. But that's kind of the situation, really. DXY has been in a lovely downtrend. It's seen some lovely lower lows and lower highs. The market technically is still bearish, and we are pulling to an area where potentially a lower high could form. So we're kind of in an area where if this trend is going to continue, I would expect it to continue from here. So what I said earlier was if we see a strong break of this counter trend here, a strong break of that counter trend line, I think that would be a very strong bearish signal. Let's say if we get a nice strong close in the 4-hour chart breaking through that channel, then I would expect to see something like this happen. A swing back into the lows, maybe some new lows, so on and so forth. If, however, we see price continue to rally and break to the upside, then I would be very bullish on this. I'll be looking at pullbacks, buying opportunities, and that bigger pullback we've been talking about could be well underway. I still think the market is quite fatigued. It looks quite tired to me. There might be another bearish swing, but I do think the bigger move for the DXY is going to be a push to the upside. Maybe the longer term trend for the dollar is still down, but I do feel like we're in need of a bigger pullback see some more buyers enter the market, take us higher, collect some more sellers higher up, and then perhaps we do continue. And right now, we're kind of coming into limbo right now. I wouldn't say it's quite ready to be sold. I wouldn't say it's quite ready to be bought. So if price can break to the upside, that would make me very bullish on the pair, pullbacks onwards and upwards. If price can respect this well, see momentum, break the structure to the downside, that would be a very bearish signal. So I'm just kind of waiting for the candlesticks to tell me what they want to do next. At the moment, I would be a little bit neutral. It really depends which way we break here. So with the DXY, kind of just waiting for a little bit more, and looking at other USD pairs, that's kind of the same situation. Euro USD pulling back, you've got the higher lows over here. Maybe Euro wants to buy and see some more upside from it. That could be the case. If Euro decides it wants to break through to the downside, then I would be bearish, looking at a retest to short. Pound USD likewise as well. This one's trading in a similar channel. If price is going to continue to the upside, I expect us to respect this area and then continue. If we break to the downside, fantastic, I'll be bearish, and then I'll expect a lot more downside off the back of that. So I can see both scenarios happening. I'm just waiting for the candlesticks to kind of give me the information. Do we get here? Do we continue to form a lot of wicks like we did over here, like we did over here? Do we see more wicks form, or do we just see big bearish candles breaking through? That will kind of help determine my bias. But for the DXY itself, just need to see what we kind of do in this area. No problem, Julius. Glad you're finding the streams useful. Really appreciate that. But yeah, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like, and if finding it useful, informative, is helping out, drop a like, interact with the stream. It does really help out. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, all that good stuff. But I really appreciate it, Julius. What's the DXY breakout point? 98.2. Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the area where if price was to hit 98.2, I would probably be looking at that as we are starting to clear the channel. I mean, really, I want to see a very big breakout. So I want to see price really push to 99 maybe, or at least 98.5, I would say. Then I'll be like, okay, the breakout is well and truly here. Dollar looks pretty strong at that point. We're probably going to see a lot more upside, maybe a push back to 100, which is up here. That could be something we could work towards. So yeah, I think 98.5, then I'll be quite comfortable and say, okay, we've broken out, I'll be bullish. And likewise, if we push the downside, 97.2, 97, we're looking bearish from then onwards. We're probably going to push back to these lows. At the moment, it's kind of 50-50. I can see price go both ways, so I'm not going to try and cement a bias just right now. We're very corrective in this channel. That might be a sign that we're going to break lower. But until I see some very strong rejection, I'm not going to try and confirm anything or pick a side, really. This is kind of what I want to happen, because I feel like the buys would be a big opportunity. I feel like even if we do sell off, we'll probably just buy in the next move, to be honest. So I'm not so keen with the sells, to be honest. This is kind of the opportunity which I want to trade. So we'll see if we get that. There's other markets I'm looking at, but for USD, that's kind of really what I'm interested in. LFTJ, we'll take a look at BTC next. Oh no, Euro Aussie. I completely forgot about Euro Aussie. My bad. Apologies, Raymond. Yes, I'll go for Euro Aussie first, and then we'll take a look at BTC. No problem. Cease integrated. Just wait, keeping my position first. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure you locked in some gains, didn't you? So it's not a situation where you just got kind of where you've just got positions which you're just kind of leaving. I think you did secure some gains there. So again, trading is a situation which you never know what's going to happen until it's happened. You can have expectations, you can try and guess, you can make educated guesses, which of course is what a trader's job is, really. Educated guesses, really, of what the market is likely to do next. You're taking into account different things, and then you make a you make a bet, and sometimes it play off, sometimes it won't. I think if you can pay yourself on the way down, you've done your job essentially. Now it's kind of just keep an eye on the market, see how things develop. Maybe if you see some red flags, you can close the remainder of the positions. And hopefully if momentum does pick up in your favor, you let the market do its thing. But yeah, we can never really know what the market's going to do next, unfortunately, until it's actually all said and done. But yeah, in terms of Euro Aussie, lovely break to the downside. I'm very bearish in Euro Aussie. I'm looking for us to return back to lows here. So I'm actually kind of a little bit gutted because I've been looking at Euro Aussie, been talking about Euro Aussie to try and short it, but it just hasn't really given me a good opportunity to do so, unfortunately. I quite like the price action, to be honest, at the start of the week, because we had these equal highs here. Price ripped through them, which would have done a good job at knocking some early sellers out of their positions, and then maybe even trapping some buyers on the wrong side as well. And then, of course, the markets had a lovely meltdown there, and we're looking pretty bearish. So I do think more downside is likely. So if we were going to short this one, I do want us to pull back. And this is kind of the area which I would look for a pullback to, 1.787. And then from there, hopefully we continue our bearish path. We've got this next major low to be concerned about. We've got this area to be concerned about. And of course, you've got the lows there to be concerned about. But even if you catch a short from here, into this area, that's probably still a great trade, especially if you can drop to like an hourly chart, or maybe even lower to find an entry. You're probably still looking at a very healthy risk to reward on that position. But yeah, Euro Aussie have been bearish for a while, ever since the market made this new high. I've actually been really looking to short it, but I just haven't found a good entry. Then price created new highs, big sell-off, so it's just been a bit awkward to really get into the trade. But the whole reason behind the bearish bias I've had for Euro Aussie is just because I feel like the market's quite stretched, and I would expect us to retrace and come back and test some of these areas. You can see when we had a similar move during COVID, of course this is a bit more extreme, but we were very overstretched over here. We came down pretty hard. I do think something similar is going to happen. Maybe price does still continue higher. We'll find out. But I think for now, we're still likely to see lower prices. There's a big range below us. I think we've got a good chance to come back and actually test that area. So yeah, Euro Aussie looks like this bullish structure has reversed. Very strong move down. This becomes an area of interest for a short now. And of course, you've got numerous areas to keep an eye out on the way down. But yeah, Euro Aussie pretty bearish to me. Let's go take a look at BTC. So BTC having the time of its life. Have we hit 120 yet? No, not quite, but we are not too far. Have we hit 119? No, just missed it. 118.905. But yeah, it's safe to say that BTC is looking exceptionally bullish right now. We broke out of that descending channel. It was a bit of an awkward breakout, but hey, price made up its mind eventually. The candle on Wednesday was really the statement, and Thursday has really kind of given us that conviction. So we've cleared the highs. It's quite funny. We've actually done the exact same pattern over here. The exact same pattern, which is we smash into the prior highs. We just about created the new high. Then price goes through a corrective period in this bearish descending channel. Then we rip to the upside. Literally the same situation happened here as well. Previous all-time high, price rallied into that, corrected move on the way down, then a big rip to the upside. Exactly the same pattern, which is quite interesting actually. But yeah, we're looking very bullish now. I think 120 is the next big cycle level, so maybe that's where we're attracted to. Of course, we've left some nice areas for some buys should we pull back. But momentum is very bullish, and you never really know with BTC. Now, how far are we going to go? Maybe it's just a push to 120k, maybe it's a push to 130. So you don't really know with this one, but not a lot to do here apart from if you're looking to trade it, you want price to pull back, you want to find those discounts. But yeah, BTC is looking absolutely bullish right now, and not really showing signs of slowing down. And I think an interesting one is Ethereum. I think Ethereum looks very, very good. I'm liking it on the weekly chart because it looks to me that price has had a fake out and then a successful break and retest. So there's your support level. there's your fake out, there's your successful break and retest. And now I feel like we could be seeing Ethereum drive back into highs here, which would be almost a double in price since this low. This is 2200. A push back into the high takes us back to 4K. So it's almost a complete double in price. And I think there's a lot of value in Ethereum. BTC just creating new all-time highs like it's no man's business. Ethereum hasn't created a new all-time high since November 2021. And in the same time, I think BTC's made 3 new all-time highs. So in November 2021, which is over here, so we made 1 new all-time high, a second over here, a third one over there. You could even argue a fourth there, but we've created new all-time highs concurrently with BTC. Ethereum nowhere near its all-time high. So I think this has value, because if BTC is going to continue in that train, I think Ethereum could join it. And of course other cryptocurrencies as well. But yeah, looking very interesting, I must say. No problem, happy to help. Anthony. Yeah, I agree, Anthony. Again, a lot of trading is just waiting for the green light for a lot of things, to be honest. You have an idea, then you're waiting for the green light to actually start looking for some entries. And again, a big part of trading is just being patient, really. Because, again, the market can either do 1 or 2 things. Technically 3, but 1 or 2 things. It can either go up or down. The third one would be just moving sideways. So it's just about timing, really. I think a big part of trading is just timing. Keeping things relatively simple, but having good timing of things is very kind of unspoken about. And I think the person who has the most patience, who waits for the best time to get involved, is the person who normally walks away, with the profit at the end of the day. Of course, not every time, but someone who's patient versus someone who's trigger happy, you're just going to get into a trade for whatever reason. I think it's pretty obvious that the person who's patient is the person who's going to have the more successful track record in the market. So patience is big. I would agree. I don't think DXY is quite shown its hand yet in terms of the direction. I feel like we're in an area where we could sell off. Need to see that rejection really come into play. If we are going to break out, I need momentum to really pick up for the buyers, which we're not really seeing signs of happening just yet. So that needs to come from somewhere, maybe some news next week, I don't know. But at the moment, we are looking a little bit dry. Okay, one position as high as closed. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Euro, pound, Aussie, NZDs, breaking. If breaking is fine, okay, made profits already. So okay, yeah. I think that's the best way to go for it as well, because you've already secured profits. Now potentially maybe price does continue, or maybe it doesn't. And I think that's when you kind of recognize that. Yeah, I can have a good educated guess of what the market's going to do next, but at the end of the day, I don't really truly know what price is going to do. So just leaving a position to run after already securing some profits, you let the market do its thing. Maybe it does come back to break even. Maybe it doesn't. Some positions will, some positions won't, but that's where the risk reward comes in. And the bigger wins kind of do the heavy lifting for you. In terms of was it oil for MBK? I don't think I've missed out a pair. If I've missed out a pair for someone, just let me know. I feel like I probably have, but I have no idea. But no, I don't trade oil. I do look at oil. It's actually something which I'll hopefully be trading oil by the end of this year. I need to go for a bit of a testing phase on it because I've never actually placed a trade in oil before. So technically it's actually a fairly new market to me, but I have been looking at oil during these streams, probably for the past 2 years, I'll probably say. So I'm actually fairly comfortable with it, but I've just never placed the trade. In terms of my watch list, I trade all FX majors and all FX minors plus gold and silver. So it's about 31 pairs I do trade. So I do have a lot of pairs which I look at, a lot of markets to keep up to date with. So so it's not that I need to look to try and add to that necessarily, but over the past probably few months, I've started to kind of like the price action with oil. It's a little bit more choppy, but it does have some nice swings, and it kind of moves quite a lot like some FX pairs. So in terms of adapting my style to oil, I didn't think I would have to change too much really. So it's something I would experiment with a bit more. But yeah, in terms of the PA, I've been pretty bullish on oil as long as we can hold above 65. If we break below that, I would be pretty bearish and naturally looking for a push into this low. The market has been slowly descending with these lower highs, but maintaining support with these equal lows. We did dip below, of course, to form this low, and then we had a very big and sharp recovery. If price was to come back and test these lows, I need to see price break through this support level, and then of course I would be pretty bearish on the pair. So a strong break like this is what I'd be looking for, and then a retest of some sort, and then Bob's your uncle, you're looking at a very bearish market. But we're not there yet. We're still trading above the level. We're still utilizing this level as support. So for now, I'm actually still pretty bullish. So if we can push into this level, reject it well, I think the buys look good, and naturally I'll be looking for a big move high. If we are really going to hold this level, I'm expecting us to push back into resistance up there. So I do have a pretty kind of big swing bias here for oil should we stay above 65. Yeah. So that's really what I'm keeping an eye on. But like I said, I don't trade oil myself. It's just something I keep up to date with. Same thing for like BTC. I don't really trade BTC either, but I do keep up to tabs with it. S&P, I don't trade S&P either, but I do keep up to tabs with that as well. I think it's very interesting. I probably do see myself trading those markets eventually, adding it to the watch list. But again, I do trade quite a lot of pairs already, so there's no rush to add more to the plate really, but I quite like the versatility, so I probably will. But yeah, hopefully that made sense on oil. No problem. MBK, happy to help. In terms of the pairs I'm interested in at the moment, I'm definitely going to keep an eye on CAD Yen. At the moment, Yen is still pretty weak. But if I do see some rejection here, I'll be more than happy to jump back into some CAD Yen shorts. I did close my CAD Yen trade yesterday. Actually, no, early this morning, sorry. I was short over here and I had a stop loss around 750, around there. And yeah, we had some nice rejection off the high, which is of course what I hopped into shorts from. And then we had this rejection overnight. I was asleep during this time, so I wasn't aware of this as it was happening. But a very strong push down into support, and then we had a very strong close to the upside. So I woke up when this candle was kind of pushing down a little bit. Price was around here, just above my entry. So at that point in time, I did decide to close the trade early, because the momentum that I once had in my favor has kind of disappeared. We're seeing rejection to the downside, which is something I don't want to see as a seller. And we're seeing some strength to the upside, especially just after the rejection as well. So after I saw that candle close to the upside, yeah, after I saw that candle close to the upside, I decided to exit the trade around about here, somewhere just above where my entry is. And I said I am still bearish on the pair. I was still looking for shorting opportunities, but at this point, there's a very high chance we are going to push into resistance now, and then I'll make up my mind from then onwards. Do we reject well again? Or of course, do we just break through to the upside, and perhaps does the yen remain weak? Well, in that case, I'll stay away, and probably at that point, maybe CAD yen does want to continue to the upside. But for now, the way those candles closed, not really showing me signs that the bears are in control, or the momentum has picked up the way I would imagine it to. So that was a sign to kind of walk away. Let's see what price does next, and maybe if things get better, I see some healthy rejection again, I can always jump back in. And of course, if price decides it wants to continue higher, I'll back away. And of course, I've been keeping a very close eye on the yen basket because that's been incredibly weak. But I have been looking for this to push up. The reason why is because we've been in this descending corrective channel for quite a while. And again, typically when I'm seeing price move in this behavior, I'm always looking for price to eventually break to the upside. The timing of it can sometimes be difficult because you're not to know exactly when. And of course, sometimes they don't always break to the upside as well, but more often than not, they do tend to. So I've been pretty bullish on the yen. If CAD yen is going to see that big continuation I was talking about yesterday in terms of this swing here, we are going to need to see the yen basket do something similar in the opposite direction. So we are going to need to see the market kind of do this here. And at the moment, we're not really seeing signs of JPY do anything of that nature. We had a nice push to the upside originally, but then we just smashed our heads into resistance here and pushed back down. So unless I see some very strong rejection from the yen, I think I'll just be very cautious about jumping back into CAD yen. I'm still very bullish on pairs like Euro yen, which, like I said, does kind of contradict my CAD yen bias. But it makes sense. Look how bullish the Euro yen is. It smashed through major resistance. At this point in time, this high here is the only kind of expectation I have for Euro yen, that price is going to get back there. So the plan is kind of find some pullbacks on the way up and continue that momentum. So yeah, if the yen is going to be weak, then I'll probably just focus more so on Euro yen and some pullbacks for this one. And push back into 169,500, just below 170, looks the best bet. So I will stay patient for that and keep an eye. If the yen continues to fall, well, Euro yen's where I'll focus on. I'll probably keep an eye on pound yen too, but that does need to break some resistance. So I do need to see pound yen go and clear this 199 area, just shy of 200, and yeah, 207, 750 is kind of where I expect price to push next. Okay, take care, Dimar. Have a great weekend as well. Hopefully see you next week. But yeah, sometimes I will have different biases for pairs which are similar, but I would have to be careful. The way I see it, it's kind of like a hedge almost to one. It's like a hedge for whichever trade I'm in. And of course, you could be wrong with a bias. So sometimes having biases in both directions means whichever one sets up, you can probably take advantage of one of them. But yeah, pound yen I quite like the look of as well, which most of the time does move quite similar to Euro yen. So the fact that Euro yen had a big break of resistance and is flying, as we can see here, broke through resistance flying. I do feel like pound yen is just kind of lagging behind Euro yen and probably will end up doing the same thing. So if we could see something like that happen with pound yen, that would make me very bullish there. I'll be looking at pullbacks and then more upside back to the high at 207.50. I think this looks like a very smart trade idea as well. But of course, waiting for the breakout will be essential because we might not get it. We could still turn around. But again, a lot of the ideas I'm looking to trade are simply pullbacks of swings, which I think have a high probability to continue. That's really the kind of the art of trading pullbacks in FX, because in indices, you're kind of just looking for the dips because you always have the expectation that indices will keep going up. In FX, of course, the market is a bit more 50-50. Yes, there are sustained trends here and there, but we do have those bearish trends, bullish trends, and the market can be back to back. So the goal is to identify a swing which is likely to continue, and then look for the pullback of that swing. And then that's where your kind of strategy comes into play. So how you get into the markets, double bottoms, flag patterns, Fibonacci levels, moving average crossovers, trend line breakouts, whatever it is, that's where that comes into play. But the goal initially is to find high probability swings which are likely to pull back and continue. Not necessarily likely to pull back, but likely to continue if they do pull back. And that's really the art of it, because if you train swings where the probability of a continuation is low, well then fundamentally you position yourself in a really bad place. And to kind of understand which swings are likely to continue there's a few things to take into consideration, but the main thing I'm looking at is kind of the location of where we're at. So if a market has been trending for a while, I wouldn't keep looking. Let's say we pull back again, I wouldn't be as keen to try and buy the pullback here because we're quite tired, versus if the market's been trending to the downside for a while and then suddenly we change direction, I would say we've got a very good chance of this being a pullback and this being a continuation rather than me buying here. I know the market trend has been enormous, we've been pushed up, but we are tiring, and in FX we don't tend to trend for too long. There are of course occasions where we do see trends go for quite long, but they're rare. Most of the time the market will trend for a little bit, trend for a little bit, trend for a little bit, trend for a little bit. We don't go far for too long most of the time. Not every time, but most of the time. So in terms of high probability pullbacks, something like this where we do see a trend that's gone for a while and then it starts to show signs of reversal, these are very nice opportunities to look for a pullback. They're quite likely to continue. A nice example of that would be kind of Euro USD, where we had that big trend in 2022, massive trend in 2022, which happened for ages. Then we started to see some bullish structure come into play. And these are nice dips to be looking at. And it actually continued for a while. And actually formed some pretty big swings there. But again, when this starts to trend for a while and starts to become a bit fatigued, that's when I start to back away. And of course, kind of understanding that does take practice. There's no kind of magic rule. If the market is seeing 7 swings, don't look to buy it again. There's no kind of magic number to it. It's more kind of eyeballing and just seeing what the market conditions are. But yeah, those are pullbacks to keep an eye on, stuff to avoid, stuff to focus on, and also pullbacks within in a range as well. Those can be very sketchy to trade too. From my experience, there has been some nice pullbacks to trade, but I wouldn't be so bullish in terms of my targets. I wouldn't necessarily have big targets. So when you get pullbacks within a trend, sometimes they can provide some nice opportunities. Most of the time I want to stay away, but sometimes there can be some nice opportunities. But most of the time I wouldn't be looking for a big swing back into the prior low, just because of the nature of the market. It's very corrective in nature, so the chance of us seeing a clean swing back to resistance, a clean swing back to highs, is less likely than when things are in trending conditions. So when you are trading pullbacks inside a range, be cautious. Maybe don't have as big targets as you usually would, and keep an eye in terms of the management, because we've got a high chance of just price topping out somewhere and reversing against you. And then also, I would say another characteristic to keep an eye on is momentum as well in the in the impulse leg. If you see a swing where it looks very tired on the way up and the market starts to pull back, that's not really giving me much confidence to try and buy the dip on that and take it back to highs. Whereas if I see the market really forcefully push to the upside, then starts to slowly pull back, well, I would very much be intrigued to try and buy the higher low, because I think there's a good chance we do push on. There's a lot of evidence that there's a lot of momentum in the market. So likely is there's going to be more buys stepping into the market to take this higher. So this becomes something I'd be willing to buy. This here, not so much. Again, not to say that you won't see these swings continue, of course, you'll see them continue. This will eventually turn into reversal as well. And that kind of brings me on to the third point, which is location of everything. Where is price trading? When you had this big bearish trend here, look where price is trading. It's trading underneath massive, massive lows. So I wouldn't want to be looking to keep shorting that because we've just taken out some massive support. The likelihood is we're probably going to have a pullback soon, a bigger pullback. Maybe price does still continue lower, but the chance of us having a bit of a correction before we do is pretty high. So I'm not going to still keep looking to attack these swing lows here because we are running out of steam. So locations, of course, a big thing to take into consideration of where price is trading. Are we trading back at some big areas of supply? This gave us a big push down. You can see here we had a nice trend on the way up, but then price came into this area of supply. Are you going to keep looking to try and buy here? Probably not the best place to do that. Eventually price did reverse. Of course, there will be times where price does go and break resistance or break supply, but I'd rather look to trade. I'd rather not look to trade into it. I'd rather wait for price to completely break through first and then pull back, maybe to retest the area. That would be the more logical buy. So you have to be aware of location. Where's price trading into? Are we trading back into major resistance supply? Have we just taken out major lows? All these things are questions you want to ask yourself. And the best way to kind of make sure you kind of tick every box is to kind of create a checklist almost, to identify if a pullback is worthwhile or not. So the first box can be location, where you're trading. If you just taken out a big low, is price at supply, resistance, support, demand? Are we trading to a big trend line? Have we just broke a big trend line? Being aware of that. Then secondly, momentum. Is there a lot of momentum in the push, in the impulsive move? Is it worthwhile looking to follow? Is there evidence that there's a likelihood that we do continue to push? If that's ticked as well, then you can start to ask, okay, how long has the trend been continuing? Is this a newly found trend, or is this trend being continued for a while? Maybe it's on its last legs. Of course, you can tick that box too, and then you can start to look to actually find your patterns to enter the market. Double bottoms, flag patterns, break of structure, break of counter trend lines, Fibonacci levels. Then you can start to apply all those chart patterns, because a lot of people will do is they'll ignore all of those things we just mentioned and just go straight to the chart patterns and straight to the indicators. And you miss out all those kind of vital pieces of information which kind of make the trade. Because trading is just kind of making a lot of smart decisions rather than just being right all the time. And what you get is you get a natural filter as well. When you go through those kind of checklists, you kind of get the natural filter of, okay, this actually trade does make sense or it doesn't. And again, even when you do that, you still lose trades, you still have break evens, you still have losing streaks as well, you still go through drawdown. But you can be comfortably assured that you're going to experience a lot less drawdown, a lot less losing trades, a lot less losing, less of a losing streak by taking those filters. It's not going to magically save your turn your trading around, but it will push you on the right path 100%. So yeah, keep an eye on those things. Those are questions I normally ask myself with pullbacks as well, about where we're situated, kind of looking at the CAD yen trade which I took recently, and the pound Aussie trade I took recently as well. I liked this bearish leg. It wasn't the most impulsive, but we did see some signs of momentum over here. Price has found some newly found bearish structure, which is why I quite liked it. Price has been trending to the upside for a while. Then suddenly we have this big turnaround, and price is now forming some lower lows and lower highs. So this becomes quite attractive to me for a short. The pullback is very, very corrective, so it tells me that this is most likely a pullback for us to keep going lower. In terms of the location of anything, we're not coming back into any kind of meaningful area of support or demand. There's a big kind of area of demand below us here, but price isn't really trading into that anymore, so I can keep looking to short. Perhaps price wants to go and retest that area before we do turn around. So in terms of the location, not in any danger. In terms of the trend. Are we coming to a top? Well, it's a newly found bearish trend, which I quite like. And we have seen some impulse momentum. It could be a bit better, but there is some impulse momentum there as well. So it ticks a lot of the boxes, hence why I like the short idea. Of course, in terms of the entry, in terms of the strategy, that's where that comes into play. Just in terms of allocating, is this worthwhile looking to trade? I would say yes. But the entry and what's up, Malik? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. The entry in terms of stop loss placement, in terms of targets, that's where the strategy comes into play. That's just like a natural filter to kind of guide you in terms of just picking better trades, to be honest. But yeah, I still like the idea of downside. I'm gonna keep an eye on this one because it does rely a lot on the yen being strong, which at the moment we're not quite seeing yet. So I always keep missing the S when I write basket. So I need to see some yen really gain some strength, something like that, and then this trade will probably really get going. But yeah, we'll wait and see if that will happen. And same thing with the pound Aussie position, which I recently took, but I did get out the trade early. But again, in terms of where we're positioned, you can see the location of everything. We just took out a major high, so naturally, I think the market's likely to push down. The market's been trending to the upside for a while. Naturally, I'm expecting a push down as well. In terms of the structure of everything, price had a very aggressive push down as well, so I can see some sellers jumping into the market as well, and we've had a very significant rejection of resistance, so it kind of makes sense in terms of the location as well. So again, kind of providing that natural filter. But like I said earlier, it's not going to be the magic grail. There is no holy grail for trading, unfortunately. At least I haven't found it yet. But you can definitely do things that will allow you to position yourself better in the market, take better quality trades overall. And it kind of slows things down as well, which I think is something that probably the average retail trader needs to kind of look into, because everyone's very quick to get into a trade, because you kind of have that natural thinking that the more trades you take, the more profit you can make, which can be true to a degree, but most of the time it's actually the opposite. What's up, home gamer? GU today, yeah, we'll take a look at pound USD. Because if you think about it, the more trades you take, the more risk you expose yourself to, and most of the time, the more low quality trades you take as well, because high quality trades aren't frequent. That's the reason why they're high quality. They're rare, they're more scarce. So if you take a bunch of trades, what you're doing is you're kind of lowering the average quality of your positions, which makes you probably less profitable in general, and of course you expose yourself to more risk. So most of the time it's actually less trades is better in terms of profitability, really, which is quite ironic because a lot of people do the opposite. Anyway, so in terms of pound USD, thoughts today is okay. We are pushing back into an interesting area where price might find support and rally. We're very corrective on the way down, so things are looking pretty slow, and perhaps buyers are looking to jump into the market. And it makes sense. We are operating within this channel here. We've got the higher lows, prices coming back into this area of demand. Nice strong push to the upside. You've got the trend line there as well. If price can reject this well, I think this would be a very nice place for a buy. Maybe you do see a swing back into the upper end of the channel, which would be a pretty big swing there for pound. You're looking at a good 300 pips there to the upside. So there could be a very nice swing there, but it really does depend on how we react at this area. At the moment, looking pretty bearish. It looks like we're likely to keep falling at least to get to that level. I wouldn't really be looking at taking shorts now for pound. So, ideally, you want to be shorts already. Taking shorts now is a little bit late to the party. So let's see how price reacts with this area at 1.35, big psychological level as well. If we can see some healthy rejection there, I think it's a great place to buy, and then we can hopefully see the swing. If not, if price does break to the downside, then I'll be very bearish on the pair, looking for some lower highs and some shorts. But yeah, we're not quite there yet. That's really the topic today of USD pairs. We're coming to areas where possibly price might buy. We'll keep an eye on the dollar. Dollar's in the same situation as well. I'm kind of just waiting for price to make its mind up. But yeah, probably in the next 24, 48 hours, hopefully we'll get a bit more understanding on the likelihood of USD being weak and pound rejecting this support level, or USD being strong and us breaking through. CS integrated. Yeah, that is actually very true. That's a good point. CS integrated. It's very easy to open a trade. Just click that big blue buy button, or the big sell button to sell. It's very easy to just get yourself into a trade, but sometimes, well, actually almost all the time, it's difficult to know when to get out. When to know to get out for a loss and when to know to get out for a win. It's very easy to get involved, but sometimes difficult to get out. And yeah, I mean, everyone's going to have their kind of weaknesses. Some people might be over trading, some people might be under trading, some people might be fear, some people might be greed, some people might hold on to their wins for too long, some people might not hold on to their wins for not long enough. So you kind of have to kind of understand where your weaknesses are, and you kind of just want to bring them up a little bit, and that can do a wonder to your trading. You don't necessarily need to make your strengths stronger, just make your weaknesses slightly better, and that can do such a dramatic change in your trading, because often your weaknesses is what kind of is the result of probably 80% of your losses, really. So if you can just improve that, you'll lose a lot less. You don't necessarily have to win more, just losing less probably helps your equity curve a lot. Yeah, I like that, Anthony. Speed kills, greed hurts. Very true. Patience is huge. Because again, a lot of people are here to make money, and making money is not something you're going to be very patient with, because everyone wants to make money now. So why would you be patient? Why would you wait a few days for a trade when you could just put a trade on now and potentially make a quick buck? So yeah, the psychology of that is quite interesting, but it's a big factor of why a lot of people just give unnecessary gains back to the market. Annie, what's your general stop loss size? Well, on the 4-hour time frame, it can vary, but I would say anywhere between 40, 50 to about 110, 120 pips. That's probably my average. I know it's quite wide, it's either 50 or double, but it really depends on the volatility of the market. Sometimes I could be looking at 120 pips with like the pound pairs when they're a bit more volatile. I mean, if you look at my CAD yen trade, I think that was like that was 50. Okay, that was 57 pips there. Pound Aussie trade, I think that was a bit more. I think that was about 80 pips there for that one, 80, 90 pips. So yeah, it depends on the pair, depends how volatile things are looking. But I would say between 50 and 120 really on average, but it can be outside of that as well. Good morning, Yusuf, my man. Hope you are well. I'm doing good. Hope everything's good with you. Appreciate it, Anthony. If you guys are enjoying the content, please sure to drop a like. It does really help out. Do really appreciate that, guys. Maybe GU push to 140s in the long term, but short term maybe back down to 1.34/5. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for a push to 1.35. So, I want to see a push there. I mean, we're not too far, to be honest. But yeah, that's where I'm looking for price to push. And then maybe long term we do push to 1.4. I think long term we're likely to push there. Even if price does break to the downside of the channel, I think eventually we'll go through a bit of a bearish trend and then eventually push up. So I'm actually quite bullish long term with pound USD. But yeah, I mean, maybe we do respect this area. Maybe the trend does continue back to 1.4. Again, I've got an expectation. I think that's the right word. That will probably have a bigger pullback at some stage, but maybe continue later, because I'm actually looking at the same thing for the DXY. I think the DXY is likely to push up at some stage as well, maybe have a bigger pullback and then eventually continue lower. That's kind of what I'm seeing for Euro USD, Pound USD, other USD pairs really. But yeah, I kind of agree. But we'll see what we do here. That's the next important question. Thoughts GJ, UJ15. Okay, we can have a look at that. What's up, Veli? I was going to say your first name, but I was not going to pronounce it correctly, so probably didn't pronounce the second name either. But DXY monthly, channel, touch the lower channel, kind of close. Okay, so you're looking for some buys on the weekly chart. Interesting. Let me go through GJ and UJ in the 15, then I'll take a look. So GJ 15. So yeah, I actually spoke about GJ 15 earlier. Oh, would you look at that? We're back at support. So I like the buys here for GJ. We spoke about buys on this area here yesterday. I'm pretty sure you asked me about 15-minute chart on GJ yesterday as well. I said some buys here look good. Just missed that. We formed support here and rejected it quite a few times before pushing up. I said the two levels I'm interested in now for GJ would be another retest of this support level, or we do go and do what I said yesterday, go and test this area here. To be honest, with the way we have pushed down, with the aggressive nature, I will need to see some very strong rejections here to be happy with the buy, because I was kind of hoping that we would take a slower approach on the way down, so maybe a push up, maybe consolidate for a little bit, push down a little bit more slowly than Bob's your uncle. But this is a very aggressive move down, which is not really a characteristic I want to see. So if we do end up breaking through this area, then 198 is still an area which I think is a decent place for a buy. And then yeah, target back at the high at 199.762. So I am still pretty bullish on pound yen. The structure on the 15 is bullish, so buys at the best bet, and I quite like the buys at 198. So if this doesn't hold, then that does become the area of interest. In terms of dollar yen, interesting. I did say I like the buys down here yesterday as well. We didn't come close to that. Momentum has picked up. We've more or less come back into highs here. Yeah, I'll probably stand off dollar yen. Maybe price does push down and it does form another higher low to push back up again, but I don't like the fact that we've smashed into resistance and rejected it. It would be better if we created like a big new high and then pulled back, because that would give me confidence to keep buying it. The fact that we formed an equal high is a sign that, okay, sellers are doing a pretty good job at this level. Again, we're still likely to probably break through resistance, but I would now bet on a higher low forming. So I think a much better setup for UJ would be us to go and break the highs and then pull back, maybe for perhaps a retest or a retest of this range here. That would give me a lot more confidence for the buy. But yeah, UJ still bullish on the 15. I think this is still a nice level to keep an eye on if we were to get back here. Probably won't do that today, even if we are going to do that. But that would still be an interest of mine. But I think this would be the next best bet, because at least at this point, we're convinced, okay, the market is bullish again. We're breaking through those equal highs. You know, resistance is giving way. New highs created. The market's healthy bullish now. So pullbacks and upside makes sense. At the moment, I don't really want to try and find a pullback of an equal high. I want a new high to be made. So that's my conundrum really with dollar yen. But GJ, I think that's a little bit more attractive. Okay, so we'll go take a look at DXY in the monthly. US 30, 15, Nathaniel, no problem. Dollar CHF SS, I like the name, we'll take a look. Eating breakfast while watching Miko stream really bangs. That's going to be a new thing. Hopefully that catches on. I've had someone watch my stream whilst they're driving before, to be honest, which I don't recommend that. But I really appreciate the dedication. So yeah, I do appreciate that, but don't stream and drive, people. But breakfast and stream, not a bad suggestion. Anyway, Thomas, no, I wouldn't be looking to short Bitcoin or Ether. I understand they're probably likely for a pullback, but absolutely not. They're way too bullish. Not really showing signs of or even having a pullback, to be honest. So I would not be looking to do that. But yeah, in terms of the monthly chart, there is a channel here, which price is having a bit of fun in, as we can see, which we've just smashed into. Let me clear some of my lower time frame drawings so we can see a bit clearer. But yeah, we have come back to the low end of this channel, so perhaps maybe some strength could come into play now for the DXY, maybe a higher low, and maybe a swing to the upside here. So I can understand the logic there. Dropping to the weekly chart, I quite like it. I mean, I do have somewhat of a bullish bias on the dollar. I'm personally looking to buy in the lower time frames, and by low I mean the 4-hour chart. So I'm looking to buy as well. It looks like momentum is slowing down, which is something we've been speaking about all week. And yeah, I can see the potential for a buy here. I'll probably wait for a stronger candle to close. Of course, this weekly candle is about to close in 12 hours. It's technically a bullish engulfing candle, but I would like to see a little bit more strength with the candle. Not every bullish engulfing or every bearish engulfing is worthwhile. I would want to see a bit more strength there, so I might wait for a second weekly candle to close. Of course, the downside of that is that your risk reward will be a little bit not as optimal as it could be, but it might save yourself unnecessary loss there. So I like the location. I would personally wait for a bigger candle there, but of course, like I said, there is a downside to that as well. But we are rejecting, and I do have a bullish bias in the low time frames too. I do think we can see some upside. I think the next big level to keep an eye on would be support here at 99 or 100, we can just call it. So if you do get long on the weekly chart, I would be wary of this area here. I think that's the next big area which could give you some issues. But nonetheless, it's in a nice location. We can definitely bounce from that area. Okay, we'll take a look at US 30 on the 15 as well. So US 30, have we made new all-time highs yet? No, not quite. Very close though. It's probably just a matter of time. But on the 15, what have we been up to? Okay, so we had that rally. I mean, to be honest, let's not try and overcomplicate it. It's literally just a range here, to be honest. So I still stand by the buys down here. Really nice range. Beautiful break to the upside. A lot of momentum there. This would still be a very nice area to buy from. I quite like it because we didn't even test it over here. So if you could run through those lows, reject it well, I think naturally that's a nice place for a buy. Would I bank on price running to highs? Probably not, especially with me buying on the 15. I'd be happy with just a strong reaction, to be honest. Maybe I might leave a position to run to highs because I think we will eventually do that. But we are very flat right now, and who knows how long this range could last for. It might last for another day, it could last for a couple of weeks. So the conditions are a little bit flat. Overall, the market is still very bullish, so buys look good. This looks like a lovely area for a long. There's a nice confluence there. You're right at the lows. This is where you want to position yourself when you are trying to take advantage of a ranging market. And of course, you are still favoring the trend as well. So that's really where the focus would be. I would not want to trade inside the middle of all that noise. I would stay away. And dollar CHF. Dollar CHF looking bearish. I think CHF is still a little bit strong. Perhaps we are just going to roll back over to lows here. Again, the whole plan with dollar CHF has just been really looking for a push back into this zone at 0.806. We've got a lovely trend line running through the market here as well. It's a very similar opportunity in terms of Euro USD and Pound USD, in terms of the fact that we've been operating within a channel, and we simply just want to see price push the upper end of the channel to respect it, and then maybe there could be some selling opportunities to take price back down. At the moment, I would say we're kind of halfway to that area of confluence. We're kind of in the middle of nowhere. I can see resistances doing a good job. And perhaps maybe price does roll over from here, but I'm not so keen on that. I'd rather wait to see if we can reject this area before banking on some sells. But yeah, dollar CHF is still pretty bearish, so I think keep an eye for some shorts there. If the market is going to be bullish, I would wait to see it for a break to the upside of the channel, similar to the DXY really. And then we can speak about some buys there. But again, that's probably at least a couple weeks away. So, yeah. Okay, I'll quickly go through BTC and then I'll wrap things up there. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. Appreciate it, Poppy. If you guys are enjoying the stream, drop a like. Anthony. Yeah, hopefully. That would be useful, Anthony. I almost forgot we had a New York session. I don't know why. I feel like the week was just about to end. Yeah, hopefully the New York could provide a bit of momentum. All right, take care. Thank you for joining the stream, Anthony. Have a good one, my man. We'll see you hopefully next week. And smash the like button. Appreciate it. What's up, Bashi? Bashi from Nick's channel. Hey, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Didn't know I streamed. Yeah, I've actually, funny enough, I've been streaming longer than Nick. So, again, there's no trophy who streams the longest, but just want to put that out there. Anyway, we'll take a look at BTC. But yeah, welcome to the stream, Bashi. But yeah, in terms of BTC, looking very bullish. You asked, should we look to short? Absolutely not. Yes, I expect a retracement at some stage, but when that happens, I have no idea. The market could still very much fly for another whatever and go hit 125k for all we know. So I would not look to short this at all. It's way too bullish. Yes, we're due retracement, but let the market retrace. Let the market do all that stuff. Let other people try and call the tops there. Very difficult to do that. I'd rather just be focused with the buys and follow momentum, which is the easier trade. Of course, not guaranteed to find a winner, but it's the smarter trade to take here with this type of momentum and the fact that we're all-time highs as well. Yes, I expect retracement, but I wouldn't try and short the highs there. Anyway, guys, we have approached the end of the stream. I will be live again next week, as always, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you're free, pop in, come say hi, come and chat with us. We go through a wide range of markets. If I'm in any trades, I'll share that with you. Break that down, watch lists. If you're in any trades or you want to share anything, drop it down in the chat as well, and we'll take a look. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. I'll post my analysis on Saturday, summing up this week and forecasting the next. So if you're interested, check that out as well. If not, I'll be live again next week as always. But really appreciate it, guys. Have a great weekend. If you haven't checked out the Zenthryx project, it's a project we just launched this week, which looks at using AI to help developing trade strategies, automated trading bots, developing your own custom indicators. It's a very exciting project. You know, AI is coming thick and fast, and I think it can play a big role in terms of help developing retail traders. So it's something to keep an eye on. I'll drop the Telegram to the Zenthryx Telegram. I'll post it in the chat. So if you are interested, go check it out. We do have a signal service which does incorporate a lot of AI generated signals using different chart patterns across different markets and timeframes as well. I did drop the link to that earlier, but there's no harm doing it again. It's free at the moment, but it will be a paid service in the future, but you can check it out if you're interested. But guys, go check out Zenthryx if you haven't done it already. If you're interested in learning about AI and how it can help improve your trading, go check it out. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. Thank you to everyone who did join. Really appreciate that, guys. And yeah, we'll see you all next week.
Zentrix AI. Advanced AI-powered trading platform for every trader. Everything you need for trading success. Research, strategy, automation, trade signals, all in one platform. Write strategies in plain language. We build the bots. Forex, crypto, stocks, futures. Every market. Let AI do the heavy lifting. Zentrix AI. The future of trading is here. Are you ready?